For anybody that's interested in what I do with my sound, here you go. Is she here? Did she leave? Wow. She left, huh? So just to keep this in mind, these are my settings. These are my preferences. This is not the one all be all or whatever the phrase is. So I'll start with the mic with, I use a Shure Sm7B. I set it on dynamic and I give it 60 decibels of gain right off the rip because I don't use a cloud lifter, and a cloud lifter, as you can tell by my voice, is not necessary for this particular mic, which has a very low output gain. So you can do a cloud lifter. If you do a cloud lifter, you're going to have to set it to condenser. But without one, you just do dynamic. And this will vary on your microphone. I usually boost the gain until in OBS it hits right around 18 decibels-ish, 18 to 15, negative 18 to negative 15 when I'm kind of talking normally. So this is kind of my normal talking voice. What I do then is, you know, you apply, I'll just go left or right. You apply a nice little gate. I keep my gate pretty wide open, soft keyboard and all that stuff. But I do negative 48. You just want to do this. The way that I do it is I lower this down and I keep lowering it, or I go all the way to 0 or all the way to the bottom, and then I raise it as I talk normally. And what you do is you go into your routing and you put your microphone in your headphones. So you would click this, and then you go back to your mic settings, to your mixer settings, and you go headphones, mic monitor 100%. So what that would do is by putting mic monitor 100% and routing my mic to go into my headphones, I would hear myself come back through. So then you go back to the mic, you go back to your noise gate settings, and you talk at a normal voice, and you raise this very slowly, 1 decibel at a time, until your voice starts clipping in and out. So like, and then once it clips in and out, I lower it about 3 to 5. I just say 5 decibels. And you drop it back down 5. So let's say my voice starts to clip in this app right around 43 decibels. It starts to cut in and out. So then I lower it back down to 48. Boom, done. Don't overthink it. Okay. Attenuation, I like it at 90. Attenuation basically is the amount of sound that, like, so it's think of it like this. It's how aggressive the mic cuts in and out. So like at 100%, you know, I'm talking, and then it clicks off. You know, there's no sound at all. It also allows a lot of background noise in, which I've noticed. So I like it really high because I like it when I'm done talking. That's it. There's no, I'm talking and then you hear like a airy, fizzy noises, air conditioning, and then shh. I like it where you talk and then it's just done. Click. You know? So 90% is nice. Attack, I put it as low as possible because I want the gate to kick in immediately. Noise gate basically is what cuts off a bunch of sounds. You know, you want it to pick up your louder noises like your voice, but you don't want to hear, you know, fucking air conditioning and your mouse and keyboard and all that stuff. And release, I put it 300 just because that's how I like it. Yeah, we'll go into the top right after this. Give me a sec. Here's my equalizer. So these are Goxlr mini EQ settings. If you have the regular Goxlr, you're gonna have more options, but I actually kind of like the way that the mini sets it up. So I raise the really, really lows, and this mic, which is the Shure, is already pretty bassy. But I raise the very, very lows up 5 decibels because I like that. I like the boominess that something around this range gives. Now, if I could probably make that 90, 100, I probably would. And then I drop severely the 250s and the 350s. Now, the reason that I dropped the 250s and the 350s is because this is all about vocal clarity. This is like that muddy noise. So I do -4 and -5. Now watch what happens when I raise the 250s. Watch how my voice starts to become more muddy and muddy and muddy. And you know, this is what it'll put you at when you first start talking. It's a very muddy sound. It kind of sounds like a little, you know. But if you lower this all the way down, you'll notice that it gets more clear and more clear and more clear. It starts to sound a little bit more synthesized as you go really low. But I like the 250s drop down at -4. And I like the 350s. Once again, if we raise the 350s, you'll hear the muddiness go way the fuck up. I like the 350s. I drop them even more. I usually don't drop anything more cut or boost anything more than -4 to -5 decibels. Now, the 2000 hertz range, this and the 4000, this is where you're going to also get a lot of vocal clarity, but also a lot of vocal presence as well. So I dropped the 2000s because I find that I almost like how this, it's called a, what do they call it? They call it like a smile curve. So you boost the bass, and then you kind of dip like a smile, and then you boost at the end. I forget exactly the term for it. I'm not an audio engineer. I just know what I like. So I cut the 2000s by just a tiny bit, a little bit more clarity, but then I boost the 4000s because this puts my voice a little bit more like forward. So when I'm talking over music or talking over game, boosting right in the 4000 gives me a little bit more what they call like vocal presence. Oh yeah, I'm sure Drew's like, oh man. And then I also boost a little bit at the 8000s as well. I forget the term for this once again, apologies. But I don't know, it's pretty common to do like a little boop. Smiley face, is that what it's called? Yeah. So that's my EQ settings. For compressor, so here's what you do for a compressor. So remember earlier when I talked about boosting your decibel in the very beginning, giving your mic like 60 decibels of gain right off the rip. My voice kind of peaks right around -17, so that's where I start my compressor, because you want your compressor to start hitting like near the upper end of where your voice hits. So -17, for example, is where my meter's hitting when I'm talking normally. The ratio is how much your voice is being compressed. So every 4 decibels that my voice goes above -17, it's actually being increased by 1. So it's squishing that audio or compressing it. I do attack 5, which is a pretty like middle ground, and release 170, which is something that I just like. And then because you're compressing the audio, it's going to reduce your overall gain. So you're going to want to do makeup gain. And I just find that -9 decibels brings my audio back up to where it was before I compress it. So you look at your audio, you compress it at its peaks, it's going to reduce it, and then you use makeup gain to bring it back up to where it was. And that's how compression works. Yeah, I mean, that's basically the major settings. As far as your mixing and your routing in the Goxlr, if you do use a Goxlr, my setup is backwards. So my Goxlr is plugged into my streaming PC. So the only way that this would all match up is if you had everything plugged into your streaming PC, and then my audio from my gaming is just wired into my Goxlr, but my Goxlr is actually hooked up to my streaming PC. And this is how I have it set up. That's it. I hope that helped. I'm sorry for lack of phrases and terms. I do not specialize in audio, so I probably get a lot of the terminology incorrect. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about quality sounding audio. I spend a lot of time, hours and hours and hours, but I've finally found that range where, things, and I adjust these a little bit. So you'll notice I posted a picture on Twitter the other day. I think the compressor was like -18. I kind of just make little minor adjustments, but nothing crazy. It's basically the same thing.